Hey everyone, this is Jake from the Kent Denver 3946 robotics team, and this is video 2 of our Autodesk Fusion 360 VEX Robotics CAD tutorial series. So in this video, we're mainly going to be covering the basics of making an assembly. This is mainly just spawning in parts, moving parts, making joints, yeah, that's about it. This is going to be a pretty short video, so let's just get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're simply going to spawn in some parts. So I have my new assembly open right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the CAD library, just find a random piece of metal. For demonstration purposes, it doesn't really matter. Insert into current design. Right click, click insert into current design. And here we have a part. So as you can see, it generally tries to spawn like exactly in the middle, which means it's not going to be above this plane. So what we can do is it spawns in with these arrows. We can just use these arrows to move it around. It can move in all three axes that way. And you can also rotate it in all three axes. And say you accidentally pressed enter and didn't want it to be exactly in that spot, you can press M to move and copy, change this to components, click on the component, and from there you can move it again. So next, I'm just gonna cover some basic joint rules. So the first thing I'm gonna do is insert another part. Just to make it simple, we'll insert the same one again. Right click, insert into current design. And then what I like to do when I'm making joints is I like to line them up generally how I want them. So let's say we wanted to make an L shape for some reason. So we can rotate it like this. And rotate there, and move the part this way as well. And then we can also click on this cube to get exact orientations. Say we wanted it around right there. We're still going to want some space here, and you'll see why in a second. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to press J to create a joint, or you can just click up here. It doesn't really matter. I tend to always click capture position, because if you don't, it'll move this back to where it was when you spawned in. So the one thing to remember with joints is component 1 always moves to component 2. So whichever thing you want to stay in place, which is usually the robot or the part that's already attached to the robot, you always select second. So the way that I do my joints, there's a lot of different ways to do them. But the way I like to do it is I like to do edge to edge in a hold. You can do it other ways. You can like go into this piece of metal, make sketches on the surface, but I find that it makes it a lot harder for more people to access it, because that sort of adds up to make a very complicated design that's hard to manipulate on less powerful computers. So we're just going to go ahead and select this, then go over here and select the corresponding edge right here. Move straight to there, and there we have it. There's our joint. Press enter to finish it, and it's done. So the next kind of joint that I'm going to cover is called a rotational joint, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's just something that has something else rotate around it. So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to because these are square holes, it's not super easy to make something rotate around the center from the square hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sketch on this face right here. I'm going to make a 3 tangent circle. I have it bound up here, but you can also just go down here, circle, 3 tangent circle, and I'm going to do that. So now I have a circle with a point at the center, and now that I have a point in the center, it's going to be super easy to make something rotate around it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to find a gear to use with it. We're just going to actually use the 60-tooth gear. So we're going to move this up and position it again generally where we want it. Now these are kind of interesting because there's also no circular hole in the center, which can be problematic. However, occasionally it works to click on some circular edge that if you were to draw the whole circle, it would have a center right there. So for example, if we select this edge right here, it'll know that I'm trying to make a joint at the center. So we'll select that as component 1, this is component 2, and it moves right there. So a few things we can do. As you can see, the gear is inside the metal. We don't want that. We could move it out to fix it, but I find it a lot more intuitive to just use the flip tool, and that just flips the gear to the other side. And there we go. There's our joint, and we're going to change the motion to revolute. That way it's going to be a lot easier to move this. Say we attach a lift arm to this, it's going to be a lot easier to click M and move this part and make the arm go up and down. Don't have to edit joints or anything. That's going to make it a lot easier. So yeah, that's rotational joints. And also, just so you know, this concept can be carried over to mounting things in a rigid way on circular joints. So for example, and most of the time in CAD, there's really no reason to make wheels move. So it's sometimes just easier to use rigid joints for that. And yeah, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. And there should be more coming.